Hello viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is MD SAIFUL'S, an assistant teacher of College Adarsh High School, Rani Nagar, Noga. And you are most welcome in my SAIFUL'S English Academy. Dear viewer, those students who are very weak in English, those students who think English as a hard subject still today, those students who can't pronounce any words correctly, those students who can't spell any words accurately. There are some students, viewers, who can't change narration from direct to indirect, who can't change voice from active to passive, who don't know how to change passage narration, who don't know the rules of right from verb, who don't know how to write a paragraph, how to write a composition, how to write a letter, how to write an email, how to write an application, how to use pronunciation, and how to use capitalization, how to make form sentence, and how to use various kinds of parts of speech or words in the lines, which we can call clause test with clue or clause test without clue. My dear viewers, who don't know the various kinds of activities of parts of speech, who don't know how to select various kinds of parts of speech. After all, there are some students who are very weak in English, after all, who are very poor, and for their financial problem, they can't learn English going in a renowned coaching center. My dear viewers, only for such kinds of students, I want to dedicate my class so that and they can remove all the weakness, all types, or all kinds of grammatical and they can be fluent, they can be expert in future generation. So viewers, with the reference, of course you know that viewer, I have already uploaded eight or more than video class in my YouTube channels. In the last episodes, you were told what's a sentence. Of course, you know that, my dear viewers, a group of words which express the full expression of a mind. Of course, is called a sentence. Dear viewers, if you say to me how many categories of sentence we can classify sentence into two corners. Number one, according to meaning, we can classify sentence into five ways. Number one, assertive sentence. Number two, interrogative sentence. Number three, imperative sentence. Number four, optative sentence, and number five, exclamatory sentence. My dear viewers, according to the structure, we can classify sentence into three ways: simple sentence, complex sentence, and compound sentence. Not only about sentence, you are also told what should we do, what should we learn sentences, and various kinds of activities of sentences. You are also told according to at a primary stage. At a primary stage, a verb is classified into two ways. Number one, finite verb, and number two, non-finite verb. And you are also told in classification of non-finite verb, and how to select a simple sentence, how to select a complex sentence, how to select a compound sentence, how to select a assertive sentence, how to select interrogative sentence, how to select imperative sentence, how to select an operative sentence, and how to select an exclamatory sentence. Dear viewers, with the reference of that class about sentence, activities of sentence, classification of sentence, definition of sentence, I have already uploaded eight rules of changing sentence or transformation of sentence, of simple to complex and compound. My dear viewers, with the reference of my last class, today's class, I also have been present in front of you with a new arrangement. So viewers, knowledge, take a look at the board and try to understand. Thank you very much. So viewers, take a look at the board and try to understand. Dear viewer, take a look at the box of the board and try to understand. I have written a relationship between simple, complex, and compound sentence. My dear viewer, look at the board and try to understand. According to mind, in order to oblique infinitive is used in a simple sentence, so that is used in a complex sentence, and is used in a compound sentence. My dear viewers, you'll have to mind and you'll have to note instantly there is a great relationship between three items here. And when you are going to change such kinds of simple sentence mixing in order to like infinitive, you will have to use middle of the statement at the case of complex sentence. You'll have to use so that, and at the case of compound sentence and. So viewers, take a look at the board and try to understand. So I have written a sentence. Look at the board and try to understand. We eat right to live oil. Javier, I want to ask you, what category of sentence is this? Your reply must be come to me in this way. It's assertive sentence. Okay, viewers, I'm agreed to this to your point. This sentence is assertive sentence. Okay, here, but I want to add here. This sentence is also a simple sentence because at the time of making you understand the definition of simple sentence, you are told that, my dear girl, a simple sentence is a sentence where there is a subject and a finite verb. For that sense, this sentence of course simple sentence because this sentence possessed one subject and one finite verb. Thank you very much. Now try to select clause, my dear girl. We eat right. We eat right to live oil. My dear viewers, try to select word phrase and word clause. We can say we eat rice, of course, principal clause, and to live oil. To live oil, of course, one kinds of phrase. This is principal clause because at the time of making you understand the definition of clause, you are told that, my dear viewers, a principal clause is a clause where there is subject and a finite verb. Of course, principal clause. And at the time of making you understand, so the definition of phrase, you are told that a group of a phrase is a group of words where there is no any subject or no any finite verb. So viewers, for that sense, to live oil, of course, one kinds of phrase. So viewers, now we'll have to change from this statement or simple sentence into complex. So viewers, start writing complex, complex. So viewers, here we next eat rice. Now at the place of to, we'll have to use so that, viewers, so that. Now my question to you, my dear viewers, so that is what? Of course, a subordinate marker. And at the time of making a subordinate clause, of course, you know that after subordinate marker, we will have to bring at least a subject and a finite verb. So viewers, try to write one subject. We can say, look at the board and try to understand. In the midst of the phrase, there is no any subject. So viewers, you will have to bring subject from the principal clause. Here, subject of principal clause, of course, we. Okay, here. Now, extra thing you will have to mind, my dear viewer. According to the trends, you'll have to use here can, oblique could, may, oblique might. So viewers, now your question to me, when can and when could? When can and when could? Dear viewers, if you can notice the present form of principal clause verb, present form, you will have to use can or may. Can or may. And if the verb of principal clause is first form, of course, you will have to use could or might. Thank you. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear son. Now here finite verb live, extensional oil. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear viewers. Thank you very much. So now, my dears, you will have to think about how many portion of this sentence. This sentence has only two portion. One portion is wait right. Another portion is so that we can live well, my dear viewers. Now try to words clause possessed of this two portion. Number one, we eat rice. This portion is of course principal clause. Because at the time of making you understand the definition of principal clause, you are told that, my dear, say a principal clause is a clause where there is a subject and where there is a finite verb. For this sense, we utilize, of course, principal clause, my dear viewers. But so that we can label what's clause, of course, subordinate clause, of course, subordinate clause, because at the time we make you understand about the definition of subordinate clause, we are told that, my dear viewers, if any clause is started with subordinate markers, that, so that, so that, who, what, which, etc words, we can call subordinate marker. So viewers, look at the board and try to understand. In this clause, we can see starting word subordinate marker after one subject and one finite verb. For this situation, this clause is of course subordinate clause, and it's a legible answer. So viewers, and now think about what kinds of sentence, what categories of sentence is this. I can say, I can add here, my dear viewers, this sentence is of course complex sentence. Why? Because at the time of making you understand the definition of complex sentence, you are told that, my dear viewers, a complex sentence is a sentence where there is a principal clause and a subordinate clause. For this sense, this statement or sentence, of course, complex sentence. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear viewers. Now, my dear viewers, these statements we will have to convert into compound. Compound. Found. Compound, my dear viewers. And when you will transform any kind of statement, mixing any in order to or infinitive into complex sentence, you will have to use so that. Okay, my dear viewer. Okay, so that. But at the time of transform or sense, such kinds of statement mixed with so that oblique mixed with in order to or infinitive to, we'll have to use and middle of the statement at the place of so that, at the place of so that. So here start writing. We eat, write. Now use and instead of so that, and so there's then extra portion of the statement. We subject here এখানে here of course we the header, but it's a notable things at the time of making or changing any sentence from complex to compound. You'll have to add want after subject, want to wants to and wanted to. You will have to use three items. You will have to use three items. Sometimes you will have to use want to, sometimes you will have to use wants to, and sometimes you will have to use want to. Now my question, your question to me, my dear viewers, when want to, when wants to, and when wanted to. Dear viewers, mind it. If first principal clause, verb of principal clause, present form, of course we'll have to use want to. And if any verb of principal clause present from but situation of adding s oblique s, will have to wants to. And if verb of principal clause remains in first form, you'll have to wanted to. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear viewers. So now try to use what items, my dear viewers. In this case, we'll have to use one, two, because verb of principal clause remains here as like as v1 form of verb, so we'll have to use one to. Then next, leave oil, leave oil, my dear viewers. Hope that you have understood clearly. Now try to think about clause. Here this person has two portion, this sentence has two portion. One portion with right, another portion we want to leave oil, this now and mixed with coordinate marker, coordinate method. My dear viewers, now try to think about this clause of this two portion. This portion is principal clause and this portion is subordinate clause. My dear viewers, why this portion is principal clause? Because at the time of making you understand the definition of principal clause, you are told that a principal clause is a clause where there is a subject and a finite verb. For this sense, this clause is of course principal clause because this clause possessed one subject we and one finite verb it. That's okay. Sure, my dear viewers. Now think about this clause. This clause is of course principal clause. Sorry, principal. This clause is also a principal clause because this clause possessed one subject and one finite verb. So viewers, now think about what categories of what types of sentence is this possessed. Of course, this sentence is a compound sentence. Why? Because at the trying to make you understand about the definition of compound sentence, you are told that, my dear viewers, a compound sentence is a sentence where there are two principal clauses mixed with any coordinating conjunction. According to the sequence, according to the definition of compound sentence, this sentence is of course compound sentence. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear viewers. My dear viewer, my class is running. How seem to you my class? I don't know sure, but hope that you have understood clearly, my dear viewers. Now, only for you, I want to give you another example. I went to Dhaka in order to meet Rohim. Meet Rohim. Try to understand what what category of sentence is this. This is of course simple sentence because this sentence possesses one subject and one finite verb. So viewers, now think about this sentence. I went to Dhaka, and another person in order to meet Rahim. Here, in order to meet Rahim, of course, a phrase. Because at the time of make you understand the definition of phrase, you were told, my dear learners, that a phrase is a group of words where there is no subject or a finite verb. And according to the sequence of, according to the definition of phrase, of course, this person is a phrase. Hope that you have understood clearly. Now, I went to Dhaka. What kinds of clause is this portion? Of course, principal clause because at the time of making you understand the definition of principal clause, you are told that, my dear learners, a principal clause is a phrase where there is a subject and a finite verb, and according to the sequence and according to the definition of principal clause, of course, this portion is principal clause. Now think about what categories of sentence. This sentence is of course a simple sentence because at the time of making you understand the definition of simple sentence, you are told that a simple sentence is a sentence where there is a principal clause. Where there is a principal clause. I hope that you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Now try to convert this statement into complex sentence. Start writing, my dear viewer. I went to Dhaka. We will have to so that we'll have to use so that at the place of in order to. Okay, my dear viewers. Now try to bring another subject. I use can sorry could meet Rohim. Hello viewers, try to select how many portion of this statement. And this sentence has possessed two portion, my dear viewers. I went to Dhaka. Number one, and another person so that I could meet Rohim. Now try to think about two clause. This clause is subordinate clause, and this clause is of course principal clause, because this clause possesses one subject and one finite verb, and according to the definition of complex and principal clause, of course principal clause, dear viewers, hope that you have understood. And now think about another clause. This clause is of course subordinate clause, because this clause possessed subordinate markers, so that one subject and one finite verb, and according to the sequence or according to the definition of subordinate clause, it's of course subordinate clause. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Now try to convert this statement into compound, my dear learners. I went to Dhaka. In this case, at this case, you will have to use an at the place of, so that material words, and subject I. In this case, you will have to use wanted to, one, sorry, wanted to meet Rohim. My dear viewers, now think about how many portion is this sentence or statement possessed. And this sentence possessed only two portion. I went to Dhaka. I want to Dhaka. Another portion, I wanted to meet Rohim. My dear viewers, now think about clause. This clause is of course principal clause, and this clause is of course principal clause, and two clause is mixed with coordinating conjunction. And so viewers, now try to reply my questions. Why this clause principal clause? Of course, it's this portion is principal clause, because at the time of making you understands the definition of principal clause, you were told that, my dear learners, principal clause is a clause where there is at least a subject and a finite verb, and for that sense, this clause is of course principal clause. Okay. Okay, sure, my dear learners, and this clause is also principal clause, because at the time you're making you understands about the definition of principal clause. You are told, my dear learners, dear students, dear friends, a principal clause is a clause where there is at least a subject and a finite verb, and according to the definition and according to the sequence of this portion is of course principal clause. So viewers, now think about what categories of sentence is this two portion. We can say, my dear viewers, this sentence of course compound sentence. Why? Because at the time of making you understand about the definition of compound sentence, you are told that compound sentence is a sentence where there are two principal clause mixed with any coordinating conjunction. For that situation, this sentence is of course a compound sentence, my dear viewers. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear viewers. I want to suggest to you. This rule is very important. This rule is very important. If you are told in the exam hall, the such categories of statement mixed with in order to infinitive to into complex sentence, you will have to show that. But if you are told transform or change such kinds of statement into compound, you will have to use and if you acquire this rules, if you learn these rules seriously and attentively, you can learn 6 rules, my dear viewers. You can learn 6 rules. For the example, I can say from simple to complex, from simple to compound, 1 2, then from complex to simple, next from complex to compound, 1 2 3 4, next you can change the compound complex to simple and complex to compound. So viewers, hope that you understood. So my motive, my purpose, at last I want to say, practice more and more, because it is said that practice makes a man perfect. Practice makes a man perfect. If you practice anything more and more, must be perfect. You must be perfected. So viewers, করবো না, I want to I want to lengthen my class time. Today's class, number today come to say again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.